Hey there, folks. Adam here. Just going to go live. We have meteorologist Elena Franks with us as well, too. Hi, Elena. How are you?
Good. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing well. This is a pretty intense forecast we've been talking about for the past few days, and yeah, we're gonna try to clarify some of it for you. We're gonna look at not only our forecast, but the forecast from Environment Canada, the forecast from the Northern Tornadoes Project as well, too, just for comparison purposes. And we're gonna take a look at a few different model runs. We've actually had some new model data come in, which is pretty close to what we've been seeing so far, but a little bit different. So we'll have to do some comparisons between those. But it's obviously a pretty intense situation. I know a lot of folks are dealing with storm anxiety from the derecho that happened on May 21st. That was very, very intense. We don't think there's going to be necessarily a derecho with this event, but definitely there is some significant severe weather risks. So we have to be prepared. We have to be aware, and we have to take, obviously the necessary action if and when these storms do develop. So let's take a look first at the forecast map that we posted yesterday, I believe. I'm just going to bring that up right now. Give me a second here, and I will go like that. So as many of you have seen, giant red blob across much of the region. Just want to clarify that we covered other areas in yellow because kind of to cover our butts if miraculously some storms did pop up to the west. But we're thinking the main risk is in the orange areas, in the red areas. There is actually some risk in northeastern Ontario. Even tonight, right now, there's some pretty strong storms moving in. So, and you know what? To be fair, into the morning hours, there will be some risk in kind of the Kincardine area with that storm line that's going to be moving in and track into Muskoka as well, too. So, actually, that might be a good thing that we put that yellow to the west there. So we'll see how that does develop. But first, I just want to jump into the comments and see everybody saying hi. Let us know where you're watching from. Brianna Raymond is from Ottawa. How are you? How's it going? Kim is saying hi. Hi, Kim. How's it going there? Let's see here. Petawawa says Jonathan. Yeah, Petawawa for sure. Port Dover. Okay, so we're already getting the questions of when will my exact street be hit. So there's going to be a lot of those questions. I can appreciate that. This is a pretty when we do our forecast maps, it's a big area, so it's really hard to pinpoint. Just to clarify, and I want to make this very clear: just because you're in the red area does not mean you're going to get hit by a dangerous storm tomorrow. It's just not how this works. This is the area where there's potential, and there's going to be a lot of storms moving through, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to see the worst of it. Overall with severe weather, chances are you're not going to see it. Like the chances are greater that you're not going to see the severe weather than you're actually going to see it. Is there going to be a lot of storms tomorrow? Absolutely. Are they going to be intense? For sure. Is there probably going to be alerts over Environment Canada? That seems quite likely based on their forecast and based on the environment that we are seeing. So, but we're going to have to take this one step at a time. Just because you're in the red area, just because you're in the orange area, or even in the yellow, which actually includes pretty much everybody, doesn't mean you're going to see severe weather tomorrow. Just to clarify, you might see some storms. The severe weather risks are strong. They are at a significant level for sure. We didn't go to the purple, which is, if you notice to the right of my skull here, there is a severe outbreak possible, which is the highest level of our forecast maps. We considered it. We went down to significant severe risk. It is possible that there could be a severe weather outbreak tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to get to that level of our forecast map. We might just leave it at the red. I think we're probably going to stick with what we see here, maybe shift it slightly to the east. But that is what we are dealing with. So it's pretty intense. We reached quite a lot of folks with this forecast. So I know there's a lot of new eyes in our community. There's a lot of eyes on our pages. And I just want to say welcome to the family. Welcome to the community. Thank you so much for joining us. We've been doing this since 2013. It's been a long time. It's been pretty intense. And we try our best to raise awareness about tornadoes and severe weather and give advance notification, which we've done on many, many occasions. If you have received advance notification from us before severe weather has occurred, please tell the story in the comments. Please let other folks know what you've experienced with our group. We have such a wonderful community, very supportive. Everybody tries to help each other out in the comments. It's a very, very wonderful community. So we're so grateful that we're able to help. We're so grateful that we're able to raise awareness about tornadoes and severe weather. And let's take a little bit of a deeper dive into this particular forecast. So again, this is the map. It's quite broad. There's basically just red almost everywhere. So it's pretty intense, and I can appreciate how that can be overwhelming. But we really wanted to get the word out about tomorrow's storms because they're going to be pretty wild. So let's go take a look at a model. We're actually going to take a look at the HRR model, HRRR, the what is it? High resolution rapid refresh. There's another R in there. I forget. Oh, high resolution rapid refresh. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, you got
those
it.
are the three. Those are the three R's. I never say that out loud, so it's strange to hear it. But, this is the newest run from the HRR model. So the HRR is a really interesting model. It updates every hour. A lot of weather models update every 6 hours. So you're kind of dealing with old data by the time you look at the actual model runs. So, but we are actually looking at the most recent update. So this is the 00Z run, which is UTC time. Let's not get into that. It basically means the 8 p.m. run. So let's just track forward here. Now, the thing you see as far as the timing is concerned. So if you see the timing, you see Thursday the 16th, but you see how it says 06Z, which is kind of frustrating to deal with. So I will translate that into actual time. This is UTC. All weather forecasts are done in UTC time. So this standardized time, which is in Greenwich, I believe. But anyways, so I will translate that into human readable time as we go. So let me just bring up, to make life easy. I know most of them off the top of my head, but to make life easy, I'm actually going to open up a chart here so I can really, really quickly know that. So give me just one sec here as I load this.
To make things easier, usually in the summer in Ontario, you subtract 4 from your Z time. So 06Z is going to be 2 a.m.
That's right. It would be 2 a.m. That's correct. So give me just one second here. I don't know why this is taking so long, but I'll deal with this after. So let's just take a look quickly. Oh, there we go. Okay. So let's just take a look quickly. There's my nice chart I made all by hand. It's wonderful. There we go. So yeah. So 06 is 2 a.m. Exactly. So let me just scroll here and hold on a second here. Just a bunch of comments. I'm going to put him in a timeout. Okay. So let's scroll through the model here and see what's going on. So again, 06, this will be 2 a.m. We were waiting very cautiously to see if any storms did pop up in southwestern Ontario. This tiny, tiny little cell popped up, and we started to scramble and get the live stream ready, and then it fizzled out and died. So thankfully, there was no severe thunderstorms in southwestern Ontario this afternoon, this evening, because the environment was unbelievably strong. 6,000 CAPE. That's convective available potential energy. That is an unbelievably strong environment. But it will continue strong into tomorrow. So let's take a look at this. So that is 2 a.m. Here is 3. Here's 4. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so that's 4. Here's 5 a.m., 6 a.m. And you start to see those storms we're talking about moving through the Bruce Peninsula into parts of Muskoka, maybe into Britt. And those could actually have some pretty strong winds with them, but they may actually stay below severe threshold. So, Elena, I'm just going to go full screen for a second just to make this easier to read as well. So, yeah, so let's go back to here. So this is 9 would be 5 a.m. Here is 6. Here's 7. Here's 8. So still storms moving through kind of Muskoka, northeastern Ontario. They could have some hail, some strong winds, frequent lightning, and torrential rain as well too. So we'll be obviously keeping an eye on those. But now we're into 12Z, which is your 8 a.m. I don't know. I'm looking at the chart. I know that off by heart, but anywho, there is that was 8. This is 9, 10. So we're already starting to see by 10 a.m. on the latest HRR run, we're already starting to see strong storm development in the Bruce Peninsula. So this could be the start of what we are expecting for tomorrow. And again, this is one model. This is one of its model runs. We'll show you potentially the 18Z run as well too to compare, because the previous model run actually didn't show storms developing until a bit further east. But now on the latest data we're looking at right now, they start to develop in the Bruce Peninsula. So it's hard to say if those will be severe, but they're starting out. And now we see quite an organized line there as well, as you can see right here. So this is Collingwood area, heading towards Collingwood area, so Owen Sound. So we start to see some isolated strengthening development, and that is 15Z, which is 11 a.m. So already by 11 a.m., I have a feeling, Alana, we're probably going to go live at what, 10-ish? I'm
Yeah.
thinking like 10. Yeah, you don't seem that happy about it, but
No,
maybe
that's something I kind of already looked at. It's like, that's going to be an early morning for us.
it's going to be early. Yeah, I mean, it's not like super early. Like Kevin Frankish had to get up at what, 5 a.m. for like 30 years. So it's
No, certainly
this
not that
this
early.
is this is early for us. We're like an afternoon, evening kind of live streaming team. But anyways,
Yeah,
we'll deal with it.
usually
It's
it's
fine.
later afternoons for the live stream. So morning live streams are
Yeah,
quite rare.
yeah, they are quite rare. So okay, so that's 15, which is 11 a.m. Here is 16Z, which is 12 p.m. So that's noon, and we've got a cluster of storms through Collingwood into the Midland areas, Christian Island, into Wyville kind of areas, and if I got that right, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Tiny is kind of the area I'm talking about. So could see a cluster coming from the Owen Sound area, moving over to Georgian Bay, and then starting to track towards Muskoka and Simcoe County as well. So I guess it's already in Simcoe County at that point in time, if this is Collingwood. So now we're starting to see some pretty strong development. So this model is actually highlighting where there is rotating updraft, so which is referred to as updraft helicity. So in many cases that means hail, but in some cases that could mean the tornado track is starting to develop. So because of the fact that we are seeing an enhanced tornado environment for tomorrow, we are dealing with some pretty intense stuff here. So it is possible that this is at 17Z, which is 1 p.m. It is possible that we're already getting into some pretty strong development, some pretty strong rotation, and we're going to have to see how that does develop. So that is 17Z, which is your 1 p.m. So let's keep this going here. So there's your 1 p.m. Here is your 2 p.m. We're starting to see storms pushing east of Lake Simcoe, all the way up to the Bancroft area. So they've gone through Kawartha Lakes at this point in time, heading up towards Renfrew and Pembroke. So big cluster of storms, potentially isolated storms. Again, this is a model. So, it could say the whole thing's going to be a big cluster and they could end up being individual supercells, or it could say they're all going to be supercells and it could be one big squall line as well, too. So, but this model has been pretty consistent. We've seen some other models say there's going to be, the NAM model, which we can touch on and take a look at. And Atlanta House, it's running right now, right? So we should start
Yes.
actually seeing some new data coming
Yeah,
in from
let
NAM.
me
So
refresh here.
it's been interesting because the NAM model, I mean, usually when you're forecasting, it's a lot easier if all the models say the exact same thing, but that's usually never the case. In this particular case, the NAM model went from saying being very, very similar to the HRR and saying, yeah, there's going to be this big line of storms that's moving from like Lake Simcoe into Eastern Ontario. And then the next model run, it was like, yeah, it's snooze fest. There's going to be a few tiny little pop-ups and the majority of the storms are going to be in the States. So it's been a pretty big head scratcher. However, what I'm really trying to get at is the HRR has remained almost identical pretty much the entire time. The 18Z previous, the 18Z now, and then now the 00Z is so the HRR has been pretty consistent with the same development of storm. So and now this is into 19Z, which is your 3 p.m. And as you can see, strong development potentially through the Peterborough areas, heading. So it has already gone through Bancroft at this point in time, heading into Pembroke, heading into Renfrew, and tracking east towards parts of Eastern Ontario, so Smith Falls, etc. So let's keep going here. This is 20Z, so this is your 4 p.m. Starting to see storms strengthening and pretty intense, heading into southeastern Ontario, so areas just north of Lake Ontario. And again, it looks like Ottawa at that point in time could be seeing a storm around 20, which is 4 p.m. So let's keep going. They start to track into the U.S. and into Quebec. And as you can see, actually, in the darkened out areas, there's some pretty strong storm potential in Quebec as well, too. And the Northern Tornadoes Project has highlighted that as well, too, that they've got some pretty strong risk up there as well. So, and then, show's over basically by 5, 6 o'clock. You're basically out of it. So there might be some development in behind, but the HRR says no. So maybe some storms overnight. So as we go back here, in other model runs, we've seen storms heading through kind of the Hamilton corridor. We've also seen storms heading through Niagara. It looks like the storms, you see a little bit of development right there in the Niagara Peninsula. And it starts to maybe, it kind of looks like it's right at about Niagara Falls there, and then it moves to the southeast. So, again, this is one particular model. Is this exactly how it's going to play out? It's hard to say because it also depends on how those overnight storms are going to affect the environment. But yeah, the models have been pretty consistent with the way this is being handled right now. So yeah, so it's pretty intense for sure. Yeah, we're going to obviously keep an eye on this. So I want to actually go back one. I'm going to go back to the previous long range run of the HRR as a comparison here. So this is the 18Z run. So this was the 2 p.m. run. So this is what we saw. We were kind of looking at the forecast saying, are we going to make any adjustments to this? And then we saw this happen, and it looked pretty much like it did the day before when we made the forecast map with a large area of red. So as you can see, this is 16. So this is noon, and kind of the same setup. A little bit further south though, storms kind of just near maybe Milton, east of Guelph, heading into the GTA. We've got storms kind of in the Newmarket area. So this is a slightly different version of what we saw earlier. Still a similar cluster, kind of moving east of Lake Simcoe. It looks pretty intense as well too, through the Bancroft area. Very strong updraft helicity. Big, you can see that big red blob on top of the storm, which is basically mentioning that there's going to be some strong rotation with those storms. And then they track again into Eastern Ontario and out. So for all those who are joining us from London, I know we have a huge community in London. We've got a huge community in Windsor, in Chatham, in Goderich areas, all in southwestern Ontario. There's some big question marks if you're even going to see a storm tomorrow. It's possible that you won't. So that's obviously good news if you're not interested in having some pretty significant severe weather. So latest updates, a little bit closer to what we've seen from the Northern Tornado Project forecast map, which I will bring that up pretty soon. But it looks like parts of southwestern Ontario may be kind of completely missed. Besides maybe the north side, Bruce Peninsula, Owen Sound area, and into Muskoka areas, especially overnight. There's going to be some pretty noisy storms. Hopefully, they're not severe, but there is a slight chance that there could be some severe hail and severe wind gusts with those overnight storms, because the environment normally the environment basically goes away at night in our area, but tonight it's kind of hanging out. So there still is a severe environment overnight, just because it's been so strong today. Thankfully, no significant storms today, which we weren't expecting. Although pretty much every storm spotter and storm chaser in the community was out there just in case. They were all out there just in case. And we got a lot of photos.
Fingers crossed.
There's a tiny little rain shower popping up. There was a lot of storm chasers that were, obviously they're excited about severe weather. So they were hoping for it. I'm kind of the opposite side. I don't want it to happen. When people say, I hope this forecast is wrong, I'm the person who's commenting, so do I. I hope we're wrong. So hopefully magically this all disappears and it doesn't even show up, and that would be optimal. But because obviously, safety is our number one. So we don't want this to happen, but if it does, you got to be prepared. So yes, Elena?
Sorry. You did mention some possible chance in southwestern Ontario. I know this is the Southern Ontario page, but I am also watching possibility for some early morning storms, Sudbury north through Timmins and up to Moosonee, as it just kind of crosses into Quebec. May say sub-severe, but still some rain, heavy rain, some strong winds possible there.
Yeah, for sure. Northeastern Ontario overnight, probably a bigger risk than even what we're talking about for the Bruce Peninsula and Muskoka. There's a tornado watch basically right up to Sault Ste. Marie right now. So there's some big storms. We should probably take a look at radar at some point in time and take a peek up there, because there's some pretty big, hefty storms. Still a ways out right now. But there's some strong storms up there in Timmins, but I think they're probably sub-severe. I don't know if there's any alerts up there right now. I don't think so. I haven't checked. But,
not that I've seen.
But that stuff. But those storms coming from Wisconsin over Lake Michigan and into northeastern Ontario, they're going to be pretty intense overnight. So yeah, if I know we have a lot of followers up there, of course, as well. We do have a sister page called Instant Weather Northern Ontario as well too. So it's a long story why our Southern Ontario page is just called Ontario and our Northern Ontario page is called Northern Ontario. It's a long story. we did surveys, we did posts, we did all sorts of things, and this is what we ended up with. So, long story short, if you are in northern Ontario, whether it's northwestern Ontario or northeastern Ontario, please give Instant Weather Northern Ontario a follow, because that's where the associated alerts would be posted. That's where we post our northeastern Ontario forecasts, and so that's a good place to follow on Twitter and on Facebook. So let's maybe take a look at. Should we take a look at the NAM? I think I've got it already loaded up here.
Yeah.
I wanted to show the 18Z because this is an interesting. This model is kind of the outlier, but this is a really interesting twist on the situation, and the reason being is it it looks kind of boring for tomorrow. So that would be, I'd be happy with that. I don't even care. Like, we put out this big strong forecast, the whole thing is a bust, and there's no severe storms tomorrow. There's no tornado activity, no damaging wind gusts. I would prefer that, especially for the communities that have just been through, like Uxbridge and Ottawa and Bancroft and obviously the GTA as well, and Kitchener. There's some areas that were really, really hit hard by the derecho on May 21st. So
And
if it
Bon
all busts,
Echo Provincial, sorry. I was gonna
exactly,
say
no
Bon
problem.
Echo Provincial Park just reopened. So they're really excited because they had so much damage there. They closed, I think, at least half of their campsites. So they're really happy to be reopened. So if they were to get hit again, that would be terrible.
It'd be brutal. Yeah, exactly. So, So, long story short, if this all goes up in smoke and is a total bust, I'd be dancing. I'd be extremely happy. I don't even care if the forecast is wrong. I want it to be wrong. Ultimately, I'd rather this not happen. So, this is an interesting situation. Here is what the 18Z the 18Z, the 2 p.m. NAM model has been saying. So, we looked at it and went, wow, that looks kind of boring. So this is 15Z, which is 11 a.m. So some storms in Eastern Ontario, north of Prince Edward County. And, they start to get a little bit stronger as they move into Eastern Ontario. At noon, there's 1 p.m. You start to see some activity maybe towards Kingston. And they start to die off a little bit. And they strengthen as they go into the U.S. Then, for some reason, the NAM shows the secondary line, but it doesn't even look that strong. And then it's gone and the whole thing's over. So if that happens tomorrow, that would be awesome. I am stoked for that outcome. Now, I think there is another run of the NAM, but I don't know how far along it is here. So let's take a look. We can see this in real time. How far along has the NAM gone? So this is the 8 p.m. run. So I haven't even seen this yet. So I have no idea what it's going to look like. It's interesting. It's showing some storm activity in Muskoka in the morning and into Eastern Ontario, a little bit of storm activity. So that's pretty interesting. Then it gets real quiet, a little too quiet around 10 a.m. So let's see what happens here. Where does that storm think it's going? Does anybody else see that one west of Woodstock? Oh, and then
Yeah.
it dies out. Okay, I'm happy with that. Here's noon. Here is 1, 2, 3. We got storms in Niagara. 4, 5. Okay, so it's actually quite similar to its previous run. So that's really interesting. So
Yeah.
maybe
A whole lot of
a little
nothing for
bit
the most part.
yeah, other than, maybe Ottawa could see a strong storm, parts of
Yeah.
Eastern Ontario. So yeah, the NAM and the HRR could not be further different if there was other than like literally no storms on the NAM. But yeah, so it shows a little bit of pop up in Niagara, and then this is what 20Z, so that's 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. So let's all cross our fingers that the NAM is right. The weird thing about the NAM is it keeps changing. So yesterday it was really strong, then it changed to this, and then I don't know if it's increased again and gone back, but I think it's basically stayed similar to this. So let's go back to this morning. So let's take a look at the 12Z run from the NAM. This was many, many hours ago. So this was 8 a.m.'s run. And it was not very exciting either, I think. Let me see here. 16, 17, 18. Yeah, it's all stateside. So it's shifting a little bit further to the north, but it's mainly stateside. But let's go take a look at a few different models. So I want to look at the WRF ARW. We're just going to kind of browse through a few models so you can kind of see what we have to deal with while we're forecasting this, because each model has a different solution and we have to try to amalgamate that into one forecast map. It's quite a process. And we look at everything we can get our hands on. We look at from the Euro, to all these different ARF models or ARW models, WRF models. Yes. So let's take a look at this one. This was the, let's see. Oh, we do have a 000 run, but I don't think it's gone too far. Let's see what's happening here. So this is, no, we don't have that data. So let's go back to this morning's run of this model. This is looking a lot more like the HRR. I wonder if it's actually integrating the HRR. And let's see here. So this is 16, which is 12 p.m. There's noon. There's 1. And as you can see, this is looking a lot more like that previous HRR model we were talking about, the HRR model. I mean, this is talking about a big squall line across the region by 2 p.m. Basically heading into the GTA, heading into, Kitchener, Woodstock. This is just one solution, folks. So this is not a guarantee. The majority of what we've seen is saying basically Lake Simcoe and east is the main risk, which is pretty close to what we're seeing here. But you're looking at strong storms through Bancroft, a pretty big strong line heading in through the Ottawa region as well too, and in through Eastern Ontario and then out. So the main risk is definitely in the east here. The only reason we've highlighted on the forecast map back into Simcoe County and then back into a little bit towards maybe the Kitchener and Hamilton areas is because we've seen runs like this where, maybe those storms do end up showing up a little bit further to the south, a little bit further to the west. Timing is a big factor here as well, too. If the cold front actually slows down, that could change things quite a bit. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen, but if it slows down, it could. If it delays and the storms have more time to build a little bit further back to the west and to the northwest, that could change things as well too. But from what we're seeing, it looks like kind of Lake Simcoe and east. So if you're in, Kincardine, Goderich, Grand Bend, Sarnia, Chatham, Leamington, Windsor, St. Thomas, London, Woodstock, if you're in those areas and you're concerned about tomorrow's risk, from what we're seeing, besides this particular model, but from what we're seeing, most of the storms should be to your east. So it's probably going to be a sunshiny, happy day for you, hopefully. Hopefully that's what happens. But anyway, so we have that model. And so let's take a look actually at the Northern Tornado Project forecast map, which we're an official partner of the Northern Tornado Project and the Northern Hail Project now as well, too. So we actually get these in our inbox. So we get to see these whether they post them or not. Sometimes they post them to Twitter and sometimes they don't. But in this case, they did, which is good. So we can definitely link that for you as well, too. Sarah says, hold on, let's bring some comments out. Sarah says, looks like on that map, it just might miss Petawawa. That would be great. Yes. Petawawa gets quite some intense storms sometimes. So this is also not zoomed in here, Alana. So I'm just going to zoom in again to full screen here, but we can still hear you. So here is the Northern Tornadoes Project map. And now they forecast a little bit different from what we do. And the reason being is they're only forecasting mainly for their team to be prepared, because the Northern Tornadoes Project, if you're not familiar with it, Dr. David Sills and Dr. Greg Kopp run the program out of Western University. And they actually, in collaboration with Environment Canada, they confirm tornadoes across Canada. So they're still working on the May 21st derecho. They're still trying to confirm all of that damage. That's how intense it is. I was talking to Dr. Dave today, and he said, oh, sorry, I'm pretty busy. I'm still up to my eyeballs with May 21st storm stuff. So I'm like, wow, you're still doing it. I'm like, so hopefully tomorrow is a complete bust, then you won't have more piled on your plate. But so this is their forecast map, and they're only forecasting the chance of thunderstorms they put, and then chance of tornado, likely tornado, and then chance of a tornado outbreak. So what we have on this map is from Algonquin Park through the Ottawa region, through the Ottawa Valley, into parts of Quebec. They have highlighted in orange, and that is their likely tornado forecasting area. So they're expecting at some point in time tomorrow that there is likely going to be a tornado within that corridor. Then you have their yellow, which is a much larger area that goes all the way into parts of northern Quebec, covers Montreal, goes all the way to Lake Simcoe, through parts of Muskoka, and all the way down into parts of the GTA. And that is chance tornado. So by that, they mean there's a chance of a tornado there. It's not a guarantee. Likely tornado. I mean, nothing really is a guarantee, even in their likely tornado area. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed. But yeah, so that's their forecast for tomorrow. And we put this on our website as well too, so that we not trying to confuse anybody, but we wanted to show comparisons between our forecast map, the Northern Tornadoes Project forecast map, and then I'm going to scroll down here so you can also see Environment Canada's forecast map. So both the Northern Tornadoes Project and the Environment Canada forecast maps are considered experimental. But to clarify what that actually means, for Environment Canada, basically they can't put anything on their website unless it's translated into French. So in this particular case, it's not translated into French. So that's why it's not always available on their website. However, they do put it on their Twitter account. So if you actually go to Environment Canada's Twitter account, you can see this forecast map. So it's not some like hidden thing. It is a public product that they put out, but it's just on Twitter at this point in time, and through the University of Manitoba website as well too. So in this particular case, Environment Canada has 2 regions. One is highlighted in B, as you can see with my mouse here. One's highlighted in B that goes all the way into southwestern Ontario, Niagara, the GTA, and all the way up into Muskoka and through Lake Simcoe. And that whole B area, they've got 90 to 110 kilometer an hour wind gust potential. They've got 2 to 4 centimeter hail, so damaging hail risk. And then they don't have a tornado risk for that particular area. Then, very similar to what the Northern Tornadoes Project has, from basically Petawawa, Pembroke, all the way down through Bancroft, and then all the way over here into southeastern Ontario, including Ottawa and that whole region. They've got a tornado risk for that. So what they put in their write-up as well, too, is they put impact, strong wind gusts, yada, yada, yada. Let's go down to the description. Okay, so scattered thunderstorms are expected along and ahead of a cold front in the afternoon. Damaging wind gusts to 110 kilometers an hour. Large hail to 4 centimeter are the main hazards expected with these storms. For portions of central Ontario as well as eastern Ontario, a tornado or 2 is possible. The timing is uncertain, which may affect the locations impacted and hazards as this event draws near. So, and also to clarify, the meteorologists that actually issue severe thunderstorm watches and tornado watches and severe thunderstorm warnings and tornado warnings, they're the same meteorologists that are actually creating these forecasts. So this is kind of a sneak peek into what alerts may be issued tomorrow based on what their expectations are as well. I mean, it all depends on where the storms show up, how strong they are, and what the timing is on that. But this gives you a bit of a sneak peek in there. So hopefully that helps clarify what could occur into tomorrow. Let me just bring Alana back on the screen because I've blocked her out enough. I'm surprised she hasn't left.
I'm still here.
You cut me off and I'm gone now.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to bring up our app and I'm going to look at Future Radar because I want to see if we can get a sneak peek into the Future Radar, which is another model that takes into account quite a few different model parameters, and I want to see if we can get an idea of what we're dealing with these overnight storms as well too. So let's go take a peek into that really quick. If you have not done so already, please download our free app. You can go to instantweatherapp.com to download it. And that's actually what we're using right now to take a look at Future Radar. So Future Radar only goes out 5 or 6 hours, but it'll give you an idea. As you can see, those big storms moving through Sault Ste. Marie and into parts of northeastern Ontario. Maybe some development. Looks like, yeah, some development into eastern Ontario as well too. And then it starts over again. So it goes out to about 3 a.m. here. And and if you keep checking back on that, you'll see further development as well. So on our free app, we give 2 hours of Future Radar, and then we have the option to upgrade radar to get 5 hours and to remove ads as well too. So I always mention this, but a huge thank you to those who have subscribed to our app. Makes a huge difference. Without your subscriptions, the app wouldn't exist because we wouldn't be able to give it to everybody else for free. So thank you so much to all those who have done that. Huge thank you to those who have signed up for our text message alerts today. Quite a few folks. Those who are sending in stars on Facebook, those who are sending in super chats on YouTube, all of that stuff. We sincerely appreciate it. It makes a huge difference. So let's jump into the comments and see if we can try to answer some questions.
I've just cleaned up some shenanigans on there.
Oh, was there shenanigans? Oh, dear.
Yeah, some shenanigans.
There's always shenanigans. Let's see here. So John Terry says tornado watch for near Sault Ste. Marie. Yeah, so there's a tornado watch in the U.S. on the U.S. side of the border that is going basically right up to Sault Ste. Marie with that line of storms that's moving in. So that is interesting. We will definitely have to watch that closely. So Monica says, Simcoe County, please. I'm assuming she's asking if there's a risk for Simcoe County. So as you saw in some of those model runs, and once we're done the live stream, you can like scroll this video back to see what we were talking about. But there is some potential for Simcoe County. I live in Barrie myself. We've seen some model runs that put big storms right through Barrie. We've seen some model runs that put storms just to the northeast of Barrie. And some are not even putting any storms west of Lake Simcoe. All of it is east of Lake Simcoe. So all of those are possible. All of those are certainly possible. So we'll have to see how that does develop.
Oh, I was just going to bring up a comment.
Yes.
Megan says you need to give me some of the coffee he's had.
Do I have any left? It's all gone. I've drank it all.
I don't drink coffee.
Sorry.
I'm here for support. No.
All right. Well, I just, as everybody in this community knows, all I do is eat bananas and drink coffee. So I need my potassium and my caffeine, and I can move on from there. So let's see here. Jen says Peterborough. It's possible. From what we saw, I think pretty much every single model we looked at had some potential for storms in the Peterborough area. So it's possible a storm's moving east of Lake Simcoe, going through the Kawartha Lakes and into the Peterborough areas. It's possible. You could also get missed. That's the nature of these storms. You know, this is we're showing a risk area, but it is possible that you could get missed with these. So we'll have to see how it does develop. But let's see here. Kayla says, is Pickering going to be bad tomorrow? From what we saw, only some models had the GTA in the bullseye there. Some models put storms east of the GTA. So Pickering being just slightly east of Toronto. I think it's the next stop after Toronto, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I mean, it's possible, but it's not a guarantee. You could be missed. So we'll see. We'll have to see. Let me just Christine says, Brampton, please, and thank you. Again, the GTA is questionable. Some of the models we're looking at say, yeah, there could be storms going through the GTA and down into the Niagara regions as they track, or they could totally miss and be to the east. So it is a big, big question mark there. And what the heck? My goodness. Kevin sent a super chat, a super duper chat. My goodness. Thank you so much, Kevin. Ambrose Way. Thank you so much. Sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. And our live streaming platform here doesn't show when people send in stars through the Instant Weather Ontario Facebook page. So if you did send in stars, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate those donations. They really do make a big difference. So thank you so much to all those who have done that. But yeah, thank you, Kevin. That is ridiculous. Ridiculous. My goodness. Dorothy says, Midland, Ontario going to get hit. So earlier in our live stream, we showed some storms going through the Midland areas. It's not a guarantee. The latest HRR rapid refresh model does put storms through, basically spawning in about the Bruce Peninsula, Owen Sound, and then tracking to the east through Collingwood, through Christian Island, through Tiny Township, through Penetanguishene and Midland. So it's possible. It's not guaranteed, but it's possible. Or you're completely missed and you have a wonderful day, and then you can scream at your computer monitor and why was Adam wrong? And these things happen. So it's okay. I'm fine with that. I want to be wrong here. Let's just clarify. And I mentioned it earlier. I really want to be wrong. My giant red blob, I didn't put that out, on a whim. I want that to be wrong. So let's hope the NAM model is right and things will be weak, but every other model is looking fairly strong. Kelly says, Barrie, will it get hit? I'm in Barrie myself, and I'm thinking we might see a storm around maybe somewhere between 11 and 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. It's possible. It's also possible that they don't develop until east of Lake Simcoe. So there is a risk tomorrow. We will be going live tomorrow for sure. For sure. Unless I sleep in really, if I sleep until 4 o'clock, Alana, make sure you call me, please, and let me know.
I will call you. I will show up at your door.
The storm's going to wake me up. I'm going to wake up in a sweat and be like, I totally missed, I'm just going to have some nightmare that I totally missed the live stream, and then it'll be 6 a.m.
Set 5 alarms tonight.
I'm going to set all the alarms. It's okay. Don't worry. I have a 5-year-old who will make sure he'll make sure that I'm awake, so it's fine. Gail says, is Beaverton at risk of being hit? You being east of Lake Simcoe, it's possible. The storms might actually spawn kind of around the Lake Simcoe area and move to the east, so Beaverton may have a chance, but it's not a guarantee. Elaine says, so Ottawa would be hit around 4 p.m. Basically, from what we saw on the models, it looked pretty close, somewhere between about 3, maybe 2 to 6 p.m., depending on the variability. But it is possible that it would be around 4-ish. I'm not sure what our app is saying, but it's possible that around that would be around the time. So someone had a comment here that said between 3 and 6 p.m. is prime time. It is, but by about 6, 7 o'clock, these storms should already be into the U.S. So we get a lot of this question. So I'm going to bring up Rachel's question here. She says, is it possible this could be a repeat of May 21st? May 21st was a generational derecho. I've never said that out loud. I didn't realize that it rhymed. It was a generational derecho. This was a horrific storm, 11 fatalities. This stuff doesn't happen every day, folks. And ever since that storm, every single time we posted a severe forecast, whether it was just yellow or a little bit of orange, or in this case, now a lot of red, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of questions. And I can appreciate it because there's a lot of folks experiencing, probably for the first time, storm anxiety. Our community has many, many members who have dealt with storm anxiety from dealing with the tornadoes back in 1985, from dealing with, Woodstock in 1979, from dealing with Windsor's tornadoes, from dealing with Angus tornadoes, from dealing with Barrie. We have a lot of community members who have dealt with storm anxiety. And once you know what that is, I don't think you're ever the same. I've experienced it. I should probably play the video. I always end up playing this video of the story. But I dealt with a tornado that literally threw a building at me. A 7,500 square foot roof came off of a commercial grade horse stable and was thrown at my vehicle. I was out there storm spotting, storm chasing. So, obviously I was looking for it, but I didn't think I was going to get that close. Anyways, and after that, it literally changed my life. Started Ontario Tornado Watch, which is now Ontario Storm Watch, which is now Instant Weather. And all of that was because when I got too close to it, literally 80 meters from an EF1 tornado with 175 kilometer an hour winds. Once I felt what that really felt like, that changed things forever for me. So I can appreciate why you are anxious about these storms. Are we going to see a derecho tomorrow? We're not thinking so. We're thinking it's going to be a line or a cluster of storms that has damaging wind gusts and tornado risk. But is it going to be anywhere close to what we saw on the 21st of May? I don't think so. Alana, I don't think so.
No, definitely not.
No, that was 100 to 140 kilometer an hour wind gusts tracking through the most populated corridor of Canada really, really quickly, really early in the day. So unexpected. Most people expect severe thunderstorms probably afternoon, evening. 95% of the risks we put out, the risk maps, we say afternoon/evening. That's usually the time. This blasted through in the morning and then in the early afternoon. So a lot of folks are taken, they're caught off guard. Folks are out walking in the forest. Folks are out on their boat. This is why there were so many fatalities. So our thoughts and
especially
condolences,
being
of
the
course, are
Saturday
with the
of
families.
the May long weekend too.
Yeah, that was yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a lot of things in play there as well too. So, and again, our thoughts and condolences are with the family and friends of those who passed. It was just a horrible, tragic day, and I don't think this is going to be a repeat of May 21st. May 21st was the most fatal. Sorry, Yolanda, go ahead.
I would say, do you want to maybe bring up the latest run of the HRR model, the 01Z? It's ready to be looked at. It only goes 18 hours out, but we do see the beginning of these storms.
Oh, okay. We got some new model data. That's cool. All right. So yeah, we'll bring that up. I was just saying that May 21st there was 11 fatalities on May 21st. There was 12 fatalities in 1985. So 1985 was a little bit of a different situation. We're talking 3 monster violent tornadoes, an F4 going through Barrie, an F4 going from Grand Valley to Newmarket, which is the longest track tornado in Canadian history. And south of that, there was an F3 tornado, and all 3 of them were on the ground at the exact same time. So at 5 p.m., there's a tornado going through Barrie, there's a tornado going between Grand Valley and Newmarket, and there's an F3 south of that. So that is not, and 1985 was an unbelievable, and at the same time, this is part of a huge tornado outbreak back in 1985 that went through Ohio. They had F5 tornadoes. It was just a massive tornado outbreak that happened that day. And that day had 12 fatalities. Mind you, much less population. And the tornadoes didn't track through Toronto. They didn't track through Ottawa or Kitchener or, those areas. So basically, when you have a very, very strong storm like the derecho of May 21st tracking through the most populated corridor in Canada, that's why we had 11 fatalities. So anyways, rest in peace to those who passed. And again, our thoughts are with the family and friends of those who were lost. So Alana pointed out to me that we do have new model data. I just want to scroll down here, and I missed about 1,000 comments here. Hold on a second.
I'm seeing a lot of comments. Should I bring my stuff in? Someone with a trampoline, should I flip it over? If you're in the red zone, pretty much anything east of Lake Simcoe, whether or not we get these storms, your best bet is to anything that's going to blow around, secure it, put it away, just in case we do get these storms, because like the models have shown, it could be a hit or miss. Better to be prepared if it happens.
For sure. Trampoline upside down. I've never heard that one. I had a trampoline as a kid, like a 14-foot round one. I've never heard that idea, but that's actually an interesting idea to flip the trampoline upside down so it doesn't turn into an umbrella, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I know one of the famous meteorologists in Alabama, James Spann, he likes to call trampolines the state bird because of how frequently they will get lifted during storms.
Yeah, and if you could secure things too, that is going to help people downstream, because the most dangerous thing during tornadoes is flying debris. So, if there is tornadoes tomorrow, if there are tornadoes tomorrow, and if there are, very violent, damaging wind gusts, then it's going to be, it's definitely going to be a good idea to not have things that can blow around. The less things that can be picked up by those storms, the better. So, should you tie things down? Of course, I would think that's a good idea. And if you don't get hit by storms, then you can come and get mad at me for telling you to tie stuff down. So that's how it works, basically. Is people just they're either really happy with me or they get upset with me. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so let's go take a look at that new data. I don't think, you're right. I don't think it's going to go very far. We are getting now though. We're getting some of those other WRF runs. So that is interesting. So let's go take a little walk down model lane again here. And we're using pivotalweather.com as well too. So if you want to get into weather models, pivotalweather.com is great. College of DuPont or DuPage?
Yes.
I think it's DuPage. I don't know. It's DuPont. It's like something to do with NASCAR. Anyways, but College of DuPage, they actually have really good models as well too. So let's go flip over to that. Let's go back to model land. Something we normally don't do, but we decided to do on this live stream is go into model land here and show you what some of these models are expecting. So let's see. Oh, that's interesting. It's still, what the heck?
Yep.
All right, folks, let's try this again here.
And while you're kind of going through that, I am seeing something from Jay Callahan, who's one of the storm spotters and storm chasers from Bob Cajun up my area, saying we're getting some storms popping up in Kinmount area.
Yes, I saw Miranda mention that as well too. Storms are popping up right now in Kinmount. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, there is some storms, so we might actually have to do some classic live streaming here where we track storms instead of just looking at model data. But let's go take a look at this quickly here. So this is 10Z, which is 6 a.m. So here's 6 a.m. on the latest HRR model. This is the high resolution rapid refresh. This model updates every hour on the hour. And then it takes like almost an hour to process. But anyway, so let's go through it here. So this is 10 a.m., which was 6. Here's 7, 8, 9. So 9 a.m., this looks similar to the previous run of this model where we saw storms developing around Owen Sound. Then they kind of move towards Midland, as we mentioned. This was a possibility, and this is what the HRR model was picking up. And then you see some storms as well, too, in northeastern Ontario and in Muskoka in the Huntsville area. And then they keep going east, which is definitely different from the last one. The last one was shooting them to the southeast. These keep going east. And then all of a sudden we have 3 individual, isolated, supercell looking storms, which is not good. Kind of it's like Mount Forest area, I would say. Hanover, Mount Forest, kind of
Yeah.
in between Orangeville and Collingwood. 3 isolated supercells, not a great thing. And then they go through Barrie and Aurelia, and they're looking pretty intense. Oh, Linda said, what time is that? So let me just make sure here. This is 17Z, so this is 1 p.m. So let's go back. So one that was 12, 11. So developing at 11. By 12 o'clock, we've got 3 isolated cells. This kind of looks like, this has a similar feel to July 15th last year, where those storms developed almost in the exact same spot. I remember saying there's rotation near Creemore heading towards Barrie at like 48 minutes before the tornado touchdown in Barrie. So again, folks, I just want to clarify, and I know there's a lot of folks in Barrie in our community that are probably like pretty stressed looking at this. This is not a guarantee. These storms could shift. These storms could move to the north. These storms could move to the east. This is just one model run. While I'm talking about these, though, you can see there actually is storms in the Bancroft area at this point in time, 16Z being noon. So let's keep going here. So that is noon. And then we have 17Z is 1 p.m. So there's 1 p.m. Here's 2 p.m. Storms going through the Lindsay area. I know there's a lot of folks in Uxbridge want to know if they're going to see storms tomorrow. It's possible. There's an isolated storm in this particular scenario on this particular model run. I want to emphasize this is not like a fortune teller is going to tell exactly where these storms are going to hit. Sometimes these models are miraculously accurate, and sometimes they're out to lunch. But in this particular case, you've got a storm going into Toronto. You've got a storm going into Oshawa. You've got some pretty big storms going through the Kawartha Lakes into the Peterborough area. And if you notice that long track, by the way, if you see these, let me just go back to that 17. If you see these things, you're wondering what these are. These are rotation tracks. So when you see this, you see that, and you see these little on top of the storm, these are actually tracks of estimated rotation. So that is, and someone said, Tammy says, what does purple mean? Oh, you already put that on the screen. That was impressive.
Already on it.
Hail. Yeah, purple means hail. So if you see purple on a model, if you see purple on radar, that means hail. It doesn't mean tornado. It could, there in a lot of cases where there is a strong tornado producing storm, you do have hail, but it doesn't, just because you have hail does not mean you're going to have a tornado. So let's go through that again. So this model only goes out to 19Z, which is 3 p.m. So here's your 3 p.m. Storms are starting to track in eastern Ontario, but that is further west than we thought it was going to be. We did not think storms were going to develop back towards Collingwood and west of Orangeville. And if that does happen, then I am so glad I put the yellow on the map. Remember, we were talking about the yellow on the map to cover my butt here. I put that yellow on the map. That is for this exact situation. Even though all the models are like east, 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 it's all to the east. I thought if it just slows down just a bit, there might be some storms popping to the west. So that is interesting. Thank you for bringing that up, Alana. So it's good that we talk about this at least. Again, it's not a guarantee, but it's possible that those storms are going to develop in parts of southwestern Ontario. It's called southwestern Ontario, but it's like the northwestern side of southwestern Ontario. It's a big mouthful. It's hard to say that. And then through, so that's kind of Grey County, Simcoe County, into the GTA, into eastern Ontario.
I'm just going to bring something up real quick, Adam. I'm seeing a lot of concerned parents in the comments. Rather, should I leave my kids home? Should I pick them up? Do you want to address that?
Sure.
Being a parent yourself, you might have a better perspective on that.
I am a parent, so that's something. You know what? These are really tricky questions, and we have a lot of these questions, and sometimes we have the questions of like, where should I go? What should I do? Should I, not go to work? There's a lot of should I, and ultimately I cannot tell you what you should do. Like, I just can't. I mean, probably legally, but also just, ethically, morally, like I can't tell you what to do. All I can do is put out this forecast map, explain that there's a risk for severe thunderstorms, You have to take that into account, and you have to decide what your comfort level is with that. If you're in the risk area, you have to make those decisions for yourself. There are things I can help with, which is like, a lot of people say, if there's a tornado warning, then get to the bathtub. And I could just, in my mind, when I hear that, I just envision people going upstairs to their bathtub on the second floor of a house because they've heard you should get to the bathtub. No. If your bathtub is in the basement, sure. If it's in the most interior room in the basement, and there just happens to be a bathtub down there, sure, why not? It's got walls, okay. But do not go up. You want to go down. Flying debris is the dangerous thing. You want to get below ground. If you can't get below ground, you want to get to the most interior room. If you think about like Harry Potter, he's got that like closet under the stairs. It's the most interior room in that house. You want to get to the most interior room, interior bathroom, put as many walls between yourself and the outside as possible. That is where you want to be. And preferably basement. Basement is like number one. And thankfully, we live in Canada where there are a lot of basements. We have a meteorologist, Jason Brand, on our team, and he lives down in Mississippi, and he says nobody has basements. They all have to like shelter in a hallway in the middle of the house. If that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do. But if you have a basement, basements are the thing. So yeah, I would definitely. And then there's the question of, do we on the southwest corner of the basement or the southeast corner of the basement? Do we go to the corner of the basement that faces the direction the tornado is coming? There's all these questions. Ultimately, we cannot help you with those details. Basically, the moral of the story, what Environment Canada suggests, what the National Weather Service in the US suggests, is put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Because that is what you want to do, away from windows. And we got to talk about windows for a second, too. We have to talk about this. It drives me up the wall. People say, the wind is coming. Open all the windows. It'll regulate the pressure. And then no. First of all, do not even go near the windows. Who cares about the windows? Get the cat, get the dog, get grandpa, whoever you have to get, and get them to shelter. Don't be like, gotta open all the windows. Everybody go open the windows. That is not what you want to do. Do not even go near the windows. Whether they're open or closed, who cares? If you have time, if it is a tornado watch, if it is, if the storms are on their way there, but they're not even close. If you got lots of time, you're watching radar, they're tracking towards you, but they're, miles or kilometers away. If you've got time, a lot of time, then shut all the windows because, a good, interesting example is, some of these storm chasers in the U.S., like Reed Timmer, they have a Dominator, which is this like tank of a vehicle. And what they do is they lower the tank to the ground, they pressurize the cabin, they spike it into the ground, and they make sure all the windows are closed because they want the tornado to they want the tank to be invisible to the tornado. They want the winds to go up and over and away. If you open up all your windows in your house, you're turning your roof into an umbrella. All those really strong winds get inside the house. Not only does it smash everything and, you get a ton of rain and you could get hail and having all the windows open, but it could potentially turn your roof into an umbrella and make the pressure a lot stronger to rip that roof off. So if you have a lot of time, shut all of your windows. I know great grandma told you that you should open your windows. Don't open your windows. Keep them closed. And if something's happening and it's a dangerous situation and the storm is already on top of you, don't even worry about going and shutting all the windows. Just get to a safe place. Leave the windows alone. The last thing you want is all the pressure to shatter the windows while you're trying to close it, and then you get glass, shattering at you. So that's the last thing you want to do. So anyways, I went way off topic here. We were talking about family members I'm going down the rabbit hole here, but we're talking about family members. By the way, if there's a rabbit hole, that's a safe place. I'm sorry. But if
better be
you
a
have
big
family
rabbit.
members, so it has to be a pretty big rabbit, yeah. But if you have children and you're wondering what to do, that is your call. You're the parent. It's up to you. I personally never want to tell any other parent what to do. When you see you're out in public and some people say, "Oh, what's that parent doing?" And I'm like, it's all on them. No judgment. You do your thing. It's all up to you, and you have to just kind of weigh the risks and do what makes sense for you and your child. So that's my advice, which is Pretty vague. Bob D has a good point. He had a really good point. No, I want to bring that up again. Sorry. Rabbit hole, not a safe place, flooding risk. That's a very good point. You know, it's interesting you bring that up, and I know we're laughing at it, but in the U.S., during like Moore, Oklahoma, EF5 tornado, many of the fatalities were people that wanted to get below ground from the tornado actually went into storm drains to try to get below ground from the flying debris, and they ended up dying from flooding. So there is getting below ground is great if it's a basement or, a basement's pretty much it. So if there's a basement, you can get below ground. That's a great thing. But do not try to get below ground in storm drains and this type of thing. That's a horrible idea. So, definitely rabbit holes could have a flooding risk. If the rabbit leaves, don't go in there. The rabbit knows what's up. Let's see here. Just looking at some of your... Dana has a good point. Follow your gut. You're all great parents. Watching and worrying about the storm is all you need. And to clarify, and I mentioned this to someone on Twitter as well, too. Someone on Twitter said something about, is it possible to survive these storms? And I was like, not only is it possible, if you know about these storms in advance and you're taking shelter from these storms in advance, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to survive. Like the fact that you know about them and you're taking shelter in advance, it's extremely rare that we have fatalities from tornadoes and severe thunderstorms in Canada. Extremely rare. I know we had 11 from the derecho on May 21st, but that was because of a few factors. Very dense population, a lot of folks caught off guard. Those things compiled equals fatalities. But for the most part, if you know that there's a tornado coming, you know that there's a severe thunderstorm coming, and you're already aware of the situation, and you're already taking shelter from the situation, like chance of being injured, chance of fatality is getting very, very unlikely. So if you're stressed out about it, don't be stressed out about it. The fact that you are already here on this live stream, and the fact that you already know about these storms in advance means you're like way ahead of the curve. You're not just putting your head in the sand and hoping for the best. You know about these storms, so don't stress about it. What is the old saying? It's if you worry, then you suffer twice. So don't worry about it. You know about it. You're prepared. Get your storm chips. Get your storm jammies. We're going to get through this together. Everybody's going to be all right. Let's just stay safe and share it with your family and friends. And if they go whatever, then, that's all you can do. All you can do is get the word out. That's all we've ever done, and that's all you can ever do. So, get the word out. Hopefully, it works out for the best, and don't worry about it. I know you're stressed, but I wouldn't worry about it. I try not to worry. It can get a little stressful at times. It can get pretty intense, but definitely, Naomi says, great advice. I wouldn't worry. I know you're dealing with a lot of storm anxiety, but take a deep breath. We're going to be live streaming. We're going to be watching every storm. We're going to be trying to answer your questions the best we can. And that's all we can do. Let's go take a look at some of these other models. I want to see, we've got a few other models to take a look at. It's kind of it's like opening a new pack of Pokemon cards here. I don't even collect Pokemon. I don't even know why I'm saying that reference. That was weird. But let's go take a look.
You just aged yourself a little bit there.
Did I? 1983. What's up? Let's see here. So this is the WRF ARW, and we're finally getting the new data from it. So this is 12Z. So there's 8 a.m. Let's go through this. Again, this is a model run. This is not a guarantee. This is just what one particular model that we check when we're making the forecast says. So do not take this as gospel. It is just a model run. Let's watch what happens. So 13Z, this is 9 a.m. Here is 10, 11, 12. Starting east, 12. There's 1, 2. Starting to see some pretty strong storms in east of Bancroft there. There is 3. There is 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. So look at this model run. This is completely different from what we just saw on the HRR model. This is night and day. These storms start east of Lake Simcoe. Maybe some activity around Hamilton-ish, Hamilton-Oakville-ish with this particular model run. But these are all east, kind of Peterborough and east, and then strong storms through eastern Ontario. This is completely different from what we saw on the HRR model. So let's go take another one. Let's open up another pack here. This is the WRF NSSL model. So this is the National Severe Storms Laboratory in the US. This is their version of this model. Let's take a look. So those are the overnight storms. They show that line coming in from the west dying. And then we're into 10, which is, so there's 6 a.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sort of a strong storm in Eastern Ontario. This particular model would be considered a complete bust. There are no organized storms. It's all south of the border, maybe a strong storm kind of east of Ottawa. That's it. Let's hope this one happens. This would be preferable. The environment is super strong, but this shows them showing up to the south. So cool. So that's two models that look much better than the HRRR. And last but not least, this model is this model is known for being a little bit too excited at all times. So let's see what the too excited at all times model says. What's 13? 9 a.m., 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That looks like a total bust too.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too excited about this.
I'm really hoping that these models are correct because they're putting basically all the storms outside of our region. Maybe some strong storms near Kingston, but look at that. Let's hope for that. Everybody cross your fingers and cross your toes that this is what ends up happening, that we end up seeing a complete and utter bust. I would be so excited. So very excited. Jay says, HRR's the only one with a show. The HRR is interesting. But yeah, many of these models, I mean, the WRF ARW definitely put some storms east of Lake Simcoe and some strong storms into Eastern Ontario. So now we aren't even touching on the Canadian model, the Euro model, the RAP. I don't think we've even touched on the RAP. Let's take a look at the RAP. Oh, it's going to be a different zoom, I think. I think they have a different zoom here, so that's not going to work. But anyways, yeah, I think they have a different zoom. But anyway, so there's a lot of other models to look at. We're already starting to get the 02 run from the HRR, but that's probably enough model for now. So one model putting storms to the west, strong storms to the west through Lake Simcoe into the GTA and into Eastern Ontario. And then other models putting storms east of Lake Simcoe. And then a couple models putting storms east of Ontario. So if anybody has a crystal ball, that would be fantastic. Please let us know. We will definitely utilize it. Peter says, thank you for your services. You're very welcome. Thank you so much, Peter. Let's see here.
No, I think we'll be
Rachel
seeing
says,
a lot more agreement come the morning hours.
In the morning?
Once we see like the 6Z model runs come through, you might see some more agreement. So
true.
by the
6
time
being,
we get up,
2 a.m.? Yeah.
Yeah, once we get up and going tomorrow with the live stream, we should have a better idea of what might happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we should maybe go a little bit earlier than the storms are expected so we can actually look at that morning data to see what might be possible. And then we'll have future radar runs. So we'll have a lot more data to deal with at that point in time to see what's possible. Have you been watching these storms that developed? I don't think anything of them right now. There's just some lightning in Gooderham.
Yeah, people are seeing it from Bobcaygeon, from Keene. So there's definitely a bit of a light show going on.
Well, that's always interesting. Nothing looks too intense there. Maybe some small hail on the storms, but nothing too wild. So that's good. Let's see here. Oh, Rachel says, can you show us the worst case scenario? Better to be prepared for the worst than expect a bust. True. I would say this is probably the worst case scenario. So our forecast map is saying what might be potentially the worst case scenario is that we'd have storms in these areas that are pretty intense. This actually looks pretty close to the HRRR model, the HRR model. I may refine this a bit, though, depending on what the model data says, but we may run with this preliminary map. We've had it since yesterday, and just based on some of the runs that look pretty close to it. The majority of the risk is definitely in Eastern Ontario, but it is possible that it could start earlier. It could start to the west. So That's what we're dealing with right now. That's a little bit of the uncertainty we're dealing with. One thing that is definitely shared between all the models is that there is a strong severe thunderstorm environment. So some models are saying the storms are going to be east. Some models are saying the storms are going to be west. But pretty much every single model is saying the environment, so the ingredients. So the strong CAPE, which is the convective available potential energy. If we put together some of the composites, the supercell index, the significant tornado index, you put those things together, and pretty much every model is saying, yeah, the environment's going to be strong, but where are the storms going to start? How strong are they going to get before they exit into the US and into Quebec? Those are the big question marks here. So significant risk tomorrow could be a bust, but if they start to the west, we could be seeing some pretty significant stuff. So yeah, so that's basically it. I think we pretty much covered the majority of it. What do you think, Alana?
Yeah, I'm kind of watching the comments and seeing like it's a lot of, okay, what about this area, and we have covered a lot of that. Going back, you can go back through the stream once we're done. We do cover quite a bit of like pretty much everything from London straight out to Cornwall. But yeah, I think we're good.
Sure.
I want to see what the model runs overnight have to show, and how much more agreement we can get, because usually once you get closer, things start to line up a bit nicer.
Yes, I agree 100%. I don't even want to pronounce this, but Ladybugs on YouTube says, when it says severe thunderstorm, how severe will it be? I live in St. Thomas. St. Thomas might get missed. From everything we've seen so far, I don't think there was one model, at least out of the few that we showed, I don't think there was one that showed a storm in St. Thomas. Deep southwestern Ontario and areas close to Lake Huron are probably going to be missed. Some models did put some storms near Owen Sound, did put some storms near Mount Forest, did put some storms near Hanover and tracking to the east. And there was some stuff in Niagara. But it is possible that a majority of southwestern Ontario is going to be missed by these storms. So that would be preferable. I know we have a lot of community members down there. Yeah, there could be some storms overnight, preferably non-severe. They could get pretty intense, so we're going to watch closely. But yeah, probably non-severe. So will you guys send out a new forecast later tonight or tomorrow? How bad the storms could be? Emma, I think we're going to stick with this map. This map shows the possibilities. If you took all these models and slapped them on top of each other and drew a big outline around them, it pretty much looks like this. And that's kind of how we make these maps, is we take all the possibilities and we highlight that, and then we kind of calculate the risk level at that point in time. But I would say we're probably going to stick with this map. I think so. Kelly says, can you guys say hello to my daughter, Sam, please? Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
How
Hope
are
you're
you?
liking the live stream.
Thanks for joining us, Sam. Appreciate it. By the way, there will be 742 comments now of people asking for shoutouts. But
Yes.
But you got Sam. We're not going to do anymore. That's it. We got Sam. Sam, you got the only shout out, which will make it even more special.
Absolutely.
Let's see here. Andrew says, just watch the whole cast. There wasn't a whole lot of mention about south of Ottawa. Seems like it being underplayed based on her. Yeah, but to be fair, every single model run we did showed storms going through southeast areas south of Ottawa as they exited into the US. Maybe we kind of skipped over that because that's almost like the guarantee where there's going to be strong storms. Pretty much every single model, even the ones that we're calling almost a bust, they still had storms in and around southeastern Ontario, Cornwall-ish, east of Orleans. So there's definitely agreement that there's going to be strong storms going through that area. It's not a guarantee, but there's definitely an agreement. Kathy says, what about Windsor? If Windsor gets a storm tomorrow, I would be shocked. I think Windsor's, you know what, that might be a reason to refine this map, is to just slice out a chunk of southwestern Ontario that's in the yellow that are wondering if they're going to see a storm.
And maybe Sarnia, just to mess with Miranda.
Just to mess with Miranda on her team, because she's in Sarnia and she always gets missed. So
and it drives her nuts.
And Patricia too. So slice out Sarnia, Chatham, Leamington, and Windsor. We'll just cut that section out just for our team members that are there, so they have no risk. Now, as soon as I do that, then a storm will pop up there. So I might just leave it yellow, just because the environment's so strong. I might just leave it yellow, but yeah, but it seems like that's probably the case. So yeah, okay, I think that's probably good for tonight. We got a big long live stream tomorrow, so it's going to be pretty intense. So hopefully everybody who joined us tonight is going to join us tomorrow for the live stream. If you have not downloaded our free app, please do so. Go to instantweatherapp.com. I'm going to put it in the comments here. Download our free app at instantweather.ca/app to get notified when we go live tomorrow and any alerts for your area! ! There. I put that in the comments. Lori says, what, no song tonight? Who put that comment up? It was you.
I didn't do it. What are you talking about?
Did I even tune my guitar? Here, hold on a second. I'll bust out a song.
I think maybe we should save it for tomorrow.
Oh, you just want to go then? No, you put that on the screen.
I'm just teasing you.
Oh, there goes my sound card. Hopefully that didn't break. Okay, great. Let me see here. If I can pull this closer, that would be helpful. But okay, I don't want my sound card to break. It's literally up on an angle and it keeps falling over. But okay, I have to tune this. But let's see. I got relative pitch. I'll figure it out. But what song should I play? That's the question. Elena, I don't think I know any of the tunes you like.
Probably not.
No. Let's see here. So, oh, I know to play. Okay, I'll play this. I just talked for a long time. So, all right, let's see here. This sounds horribly out of tune. Okay, 1 second. Let me just tune quick. So, thank you so much to everybody who's joined us. If you don't like music, then it's probably time to go. But if you do like music, then I'll play you one song. Oh, yeah, it was sharp. I'm glad I tuned. That would have been bad. Let's see here. And if you have any requests, please put them in the comments, and I will definitely try my best to figure it out. And by that, I mean I'm going to play the song that I know. I used to be a professional musician where I played 4 hours of music a night, so I knew quite a few songs. Okay. That's called the tuning song. I don't know if you've heard that one before. That's a classic. It's better. Okay. Here, I'll try this out. 1 second.
I awoke only to find my lungs empty through the night. So it seems I'm not breathing. Now my dreams are nothing like they were meant to be. So I'm breaking down. Yes, I'm breaking down. I'm afraid to sleep because of what haunts me, such as living with the uncertainty. Never find the words to say which could completely explain just how I'm breaking down. Someone come and save my life. Maybe I'll sleep when I'm there, but now it's like the night is taking sides. All the worries that occupy the back of my mind. Couldn't it be this misery will suffice? Oh, how I'm breaking down.
Anyways, just want to say thank you to everybody for joining the live stream. We'll definitely be live tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting day. And thank you so much to Alana for joining us as well, too, on the live stream. Thank you kindly. Again, if you have not done it already, please download our free app. You can get it at instantweatherapp.com for Android and for Apple, for iPhone, for iPad, for any Android device through the Google Play Store. And again, when we go live tomorrow, we will notify all those that we are live, and we're going to track these storms. And cross your fingers. We hope tomorrow is a bust. We hope we're just sitting there doing nothing until the storms maybe pop up around Lake Ontario and then head into the U.S. That is a possibility. We've seen some model runs that show that, and we've also seen some model runs that put storms from Owen Sound through Simcoe County into the GTA, into Niagara, and into Eastern Ontario. So what is going to happen? We have absolutely no clue. All we can do is look at the data. We could try to make our best guess. That is the forecast map that you see above you. If it is a bust, I will be very excited. But if it does end up actually being quite severe, then we will be tracking that accordingly. We'll be looking for rotation. We'll be sending out notifications if you're in the path of these storms. We'll be sending out, of course, Environment Canada's watches, warnings, advisories, and statements instantly. But we also send out, of course, if we see rotation on radar, we draw our own little polygon and we notify those who are in the path of those storms. We see significant damaging winds, if we see large hail, if we get reports of a tornado or reports of a funnel cloud or reports of significant damage, then we send out notifications for those as well, too. So anyways, long story short, thank you. Oh, Carly says, what time are we going live? I think we said 10-ish.
Yeah, ish.
10 sounds about right, but 10 is going to be, it's going to be 11:45 if we say 10. So it'll be.
We're running out of time.
We're running on my time, so we'll try our best to do it in a reasonable time frame. But I think it all depends on when the storms are going to start for sure. But it's probably, I think it's probably going to be something like 10, maybe 11 o'clock. So we'll see. So, anyways, long story short, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. We will see you all tomorrow. Cross your fingers it's a bust, but if it's not, we'll be here every step of the way. So thank you so much. Have yourself a wonderful night, and we will talk to you all very, very soon. Bye-bye.